And this is Jen Gray, and welcome to Be Jennuine Podcast. It is my heart that by the end of this episode, you believe that your story matters and that your authenticity is your superpower.
Welcome to the stage, Jen Gray.
Hey friends, I hope you are doing so great and having the best week. I am super excited for this episode. If we've not met yet, I am Jen Gray. I love to help women build and rebuild a life that they're proud of. And so we talk all things authenticity, personal growth, mindset shifts, and everything above. I am super excited to get to share this with you. Something that's super personal to me. Newsflash, Monday, May 18th is my birthday. So I'm releasing this right before my birthday. So every year I love to ask myself, what am I leaving in this past year and what am I bringing into the next year? So similar to like a New Year's resolutions, but a little bit different. We talk about the power of change, the power of rebuilding or reinventing ourselves and how that can literally take place anytime, any place, at any point. And there's so much hope in that. And I have a couple questions that I just want you to ponder. So if you are living a life where you're like, you know what, I do wish I was in a different space. Let's first have gratitude for where we are and where we've come from. And then let's also dream really, really, really big and look at where our life could be a year from now. What needs to be set into motion and what do we just need to totally get rid of? When I look at this next year, okay, peace out 42, here comes 43, which seems insane. My kids say I'm officially old, which, age is just a number, but 43 is a whole thing. 42 didn't feel old. There's something about 43 all in my head, but we'll have to get over that. But when you think about what you're leaving behind, here's a first question. What am I currently that doesn't fit where I'm headed? You guys know like the difference. Even if you think about your dream job is not going to have all of your dream requirements. There's going to be parts of it that just suck. And that doesn't mean it's not what you want to do. Everything is not amazing and beautiful, but that's not what I'm talking about. I have to tolerate the fact that my business requires me to have social media calendars and CRM and all of those things. It's not that kind of toleration. It's what are you tolerating even from yourself? Are there excuses that you keep leaning into that they're just not serving you? And what are some subconscious loops that you are in that don't fit where you're going? And this is where it's also powerful to have really amazing people in your life. I was just talking to a great friend this week, and I had made the statement about I have absolutely done this the hard way. I'm building this platform without the security of a full-time job. I've just completely jumped and I'm building and I'm going. And she said, who told you that's the hard way to do something? Well, because I don't have a cushion. She's like, you also don't have another full-time job that you have to focus on. You have the freedom to completely, wholeheartedly build this. Because if we tell ourselves we're doing it the hard way, our mind feels that. It's not an excuse. I wasn't using an excuse. I was just using a mindset that was completely wrong. Didn't serve me. So I was tolerating mindsets that didn't get me where I wanted to go. So first thing, what are you tolerating? What have you just outgrown? Do you ever just get tired of you getting in your own way? I'm not taking this into the next one. I have outgrown this way of thinking, or I've outgrown this scarcity mindset. And I think that scarcity and abundance mindset is the foundation of why you're probably even here. If you have a scarcity mindset, you're probably not listening to a podcast on personal growth. You're just not here for it. You're here to make excuses and woe is me. If you have a growth mindset, an abundance mindset, that's probably why you're here, because you actually want to grow. So high five for you for committing to 20-ish minutes today. If you listen to me on 1.5, first of all, I already talk at 1.5. So high five to you for just going all in and trying to focus on me for 17 minutes instead of 22. But what is it? What is it that you have outgrown that you're like, you know what, this isn't going to fit? I am going to have a growth mindset. Therefore, I have outgrown this. Where is fear making the decision for you? I have to brag on one of my daughters. Yesterday, she tried out for her school softball team, and she was terrified. She's only played a couple of seasons of rec. She's kind of a newbie to the softball world by like Georgia standards where you start you in the womb. So she was scared out of her mind yesterday at tryouts. And she showed up and she literally crushed it. She just gave it her all. Whether she makes it or not, she can know she gave it her all. And she showed up scared. So where is fear still making decisions for you, where you are counting yourself out before you even get yourself out there? I know for me, it's big accounts. And I almost let fear keep me from walking into UGA sorority office and saying, hey, I'm Jen Gray. I'm a keynote speaker for sororities. I would love to talk to you about partnering with your sororities here at University of Georgia. Somebody else could have said, Jen, do you realize that's like an SEC school? That's a big school. Like maybe you just need to focus on here. Guess what? I may not get booked for UGA, but sure as heck, I'm not getting booked for UGA if I don't ask, if I don't show up. Where are you letting fear? I let my own fear keep me from ever even attempting to do sororities. Y'all, I don't know if you know much about sororities. I'm learning so many Greek words. I'm learning so many things that I know nothing about. I wasn't in a sorority. But what I do know is that sororities bring together girls who are leadership minded, and they have a lot of different events where they put together for personal development, mental health, and for growth. But it's super intimidating because it's like a whole culture, right? It is a whole thing. If you've been in a sorority, you get it, right? Like Rush is a whole ordeal. So I'm not coming in as an expert on how to be in a sorority. I know nothing about that. But I do know what it takes to build and rebuild a life you're proud of. And so trying to save these girls from midlife crisis by talking to them how they build a life and what the foundations of what they're building on as they are jumping into one of the most exciting chapters of their life, which is adulthood right after college. But fear kept me from even pursuing that for a while, even though I had it kind of in the back of my mind. Where is it for you? What fear is still dictating your decisions? So ask yourself that. Be super, super honest. What habits don't match where I'm going? What habits don't match? If you want to be fit, but you're not working out, maybe that's a habit that doesn't match. If you are wanting to build relationships, but you're never putting yourself into new situations to make new relationships, those things don't go together. So what is it for you? What habits? Is there an addiction that you're like, this does not serve me? I'm going to get the actual help that I need because I believe that next year can look different if I decide right now that I can't do this alone. What does that look like for you? Us recognizing the habits that don't match where we want to be. Okay, now listen, this is a really big one, especially as it relates to authenticity. How many of you guys have apologized for parts of you that actually make you unique? Maybe you're like super loud and obnoxious and you're apologizing for that. Don't dim yourself because it makes someone else feel uncomfortable. Right? What is it about you that you are apologizing for, but it actually makes you unique? For a bit, I almost thought that me talking about speaking to teenage girls wouldn't give me credibility in these business spaces that I was now speaking in. And instead, I'm like, guess what? They can't take all of me and all of my story and understand that gave me the absolute framework to be able to add value to people and understand public speaking. Then they're not my people, right? So when we start to hide parts of ourselves, like what are we apologizing for? We're done with that. Next is like an inventory on our relationships. This is a hard one. Just actually had to have a very, very, very tough relationship conversation because it felt like this relationship was one-sided and there wasn't an emotional availability for an actual like friendship with the way that I would want to have a friendship. And y'all, I'm 42. I'm of 4 children. My plate is absolutely full. If I have time for friendships and relationships, they better be good ones because I don't have that much extra time. I love when people ask what my hobbies are. I'm lacrosse, softball, baseball, and orchestra. Like those are my hobbies because I have 4 kids that are like in the thick of their, kid adolescent years. And that's what I'm here for. But what relationships give life and what relationships suck life? And are you willing to ask yourself the hard questions? And here's what I'm not saying. This whole cut culture where this person isn't giving you what you need. So boom, they're toxic and you get rid of them. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's healthy at all. Conversations are huge. And sometimes we are one awkward conversation away from an actually like healthy relationship, a healthy friendship. But here's what you have to ask yourself. Does this bring out the best in me? Or does it bring out the worst in me? If there's friendships that are adding value, it's making more time for that, knowing that you both need each other and we both need really good community in our life. And the ones who suck the life out of us, they don't get much of your time. You don't have time for that. Like, you can love them and care about them and also know that they're not what's best for you. But we have to love ourselves enough and love them enough to have those honest conversations, but know what relationships suck and give life. What areas do you need to forgive yourself in? Forgive you. Like, where is shame just living? And it's just breeding this guilt and this shame. And it's something that you're still holding on to. But the next level of you requires you to release that. What does that look like? What does it look like for you to forgive yourself? And if you're like me, there's 8,004 things that I've had to forgive myself for. And then sometimes I feel these things creep back in. Let me give you a really good example. So I want to be incredibly present for my kids. You may or may not know that for about a year and a half, I existed in 2 states and I have 4 kids. And it seems like an out of body experience because I could never in a trillion years imagine um, ever reliving that. And in my mind, I thought it was what was best for them until I very clearly knew it wasn't what was best for them. And so in all of that, there's this guilt of things that I missed. There's this guilt of the first day of school. I drove 12 hours here to be there for the first day of school, and I drove right back. So 24 hours within 2 days that I was driving. Like, those were just like no-brainer decisions that I made. But even after making those huge strides to show my kids that as we're in this transition season, mom is all here for you, I still live with some of that guilt. And I've had to literally release it like piece by piece. And so right now, even though I'm not sure I could be any more present for my kids, there's still that seeps in. I told my friends, I'm really going to be able to focus on this part of my business. Like, once I get through spring sports, we've got 5 practices a week. I got to be in all these places. She's like, who told you that you need to be at all of your kids' practices? I mean, I did. Why do you think you need to be at all of your kids' practices? I said, because when my kids are 30, I don't want them to ever look back on their childhood and think mom wasn't there for me or mom didn't support me. And I want them to know they're my world and they're everything. And I want to be at everything. And I want them to know day in and day out that I support them. Is there a way that you could show them that you support them and it doesn't mean you have to go to every practice for your 4 children? I said, well, she's like, how about we have a conversation with your kids and say, hey, kids, I'm building this. I'm doing this. I love you. I believe in you. I value you. I'm your biggest fan. And I'm going to do everything I can to be at every single game possible. But your practices, I'm going to go let you do practice while I do my business. And we're going to both grow in our different things. You've removed the definition that supporting your kids means going to every practice. So that was like 2 days later, I went to dinner with my kids and I said, kids, guess what? I love you. I believe in you. I'm not going to be all the practices, but da da da. And they were like, oh, that's cool. That's fine. You don't have to be at our practices. I'm like, what? Again, it was, we assign meaning to things that don't need to be assigned meaning. Am I assigning meanings to things that don't need to be? So you're getting rid of this guilt and you're forgiving yourself for whatever's bringing this guilt up, but you're giving yourself permission to live in freedom and not live in unforgiveness. Think ahead. What would your future self tell you to stop carrying? Think about it. 5-year future you. What would they look at you in the eyes if you could sit right across from them and say, hey, stop carrying this. It doesn't do any good. There's nothing else that you need to stop carrying this. What is that? What is that you're not bringing into the next year? That you're done carrying. And I want you to really, really, really imagine that future version of you. I even think about, you guys do this. Maybe I'm just weird. I am weird. But I think about in 5 years, everything coming true, everything that I've dreamed of, everything that I want to accomplish, everything I want, the way I want to influence people, the way I want to show up for the people that I love and care about. And that I believe that I could help for women who are rebuilding their life and want somebody to walk alongside that journey with them. I have huge dreams of beyond the coaching that I'm doing, but what that looks like even in the future and the audiences that I can help. And then I think, what does life look like in that version of me? What's not there? What doesn't even have space? Fears and the disbelief. What doesn't belong there? Write it out. And then start recognizing the subconscious ways that those are just slipping right in there. With my kids, the natural part was if I'm not showing up to something, means that something else is more important than my children, and I need to make sure they know that they're most important. Well, that wasn't even true. Nothing's more important than my kids. And if I miss lacrosse practice to go speak to a group, that does not mean that that is more important than my child. It just means I'm double booked, right? What is that in your world? What story do I want to tell on my next birthday? I want you to think about it. Like, journaling is so powerful. I need to do it. I need to do way more of it. Like, way more. But like, where are we going to be next year? Like, just imagine if we release the things and bring on the things and step into and have bigger faith and bigger actions and bigger dreams and bigger love and bigger forgiveness for yourself. Like, just think about it. Where are we at a year from now? Y'all, do you know where I was a year ago? I had never been paid for a speaking opportunity yet, and I was full-fledged in insurance. And I was speaking, kind of dabbling on the side, just barely trying to get this started with a message that was completely nothing like what it is right now in 1 year. So first, have gratitude for where you've come and excitement and passion for where you're headed. If right now, if you don't feel like you can make lists of all these things that I gave you, all these questions for yourself to ask, if it feels like you admitting that you need to grow is a threat to your leadership or to your success, I want you to stop. You're not supposed to know everything. Nobody expects you to know everything. And in fact, we genuinely are much better together. So how much more incredible could you be if you actually understood that the desire to grow is a growth mindset and it's not something that shows weakness? And that's the first step in all of this. Because if some of you listen to this and when you hear about change and what you give up, then you've attached your emotional worth to the decisions you've already made. And then you're like, well, see, I am a failure, or no, I don't need to grow. I already know all of this. Both of those things are going to keep you right where you are. And I don't want that for any of us. Own being a beginner. Take messy action. What do you have to lose? You want to start a podcast for like 2.5 years and then stop it for 6 months and then bring it back because you know it's time again? Do it. We have to stop worrying about everybody else. Worry about our own world, our own life. And so as I'm just thinking through what I'm excited about, what I'm scared of, like where I'm going to be this time next year, how I'm making money, the kind of friendships and the relationships that are going to be in my world, the way I'm using my time, the massive amount of people that I'm going to get to help. That's all on the other side of me answering these questions and being willing and ready to grow and to go with the process in this journey called life, where we are all taking it one day at a time. So I hope that this is hopeful. I hope that maybe there's just 2 or 3 questions out of the list about 10 that I gave you where I really need to deep dive into this. Maybe it's not your birthday next Monday. It doesn't take a birthday to decide that you're going to give up, give away, bring on something new. And continually being in this growth mindset of where are my blind spots? Where's the guardrails need to be in my life? And the hope that if you're still here, you're still here. Your heart is still pumping. God is not done with you yet. You could be doing something totally different a year from now. Give yourself the grace and permission to try. What if you fall? What if you fail? But what if you fly? That's it. There's no more what if I fail. No, but what if I succeed? What if I am the kind of friend? What if I am the kind of spouse? What if I am the kind of sister or mom or business or whatever it is? Gosh, I just believe our best days are ahead. I believe that your best days are ahead. I believe that you, like, if you're watching this, eye to eye. If you're not watching this, it's okay. Don't go back. But listen, I believe in you. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for me. I'm excited that in 1 year we're telling a different story. because we are women who are excited to live audacious, daring lives. Or if you have kids, you're letting them see you do daring, audacious things so that they dare and do audacious things in their own world. And they believe that God created them for something massive, and they're not letting their fear to decide their trajectory. They're letting their faith decide their trajectory. I believe in you. I'm cheering you on, and I love you. And that might sound crazy because I don't know so many of you. But listen, there are people all across the world that hate people for absolutely no reason. I will always choose to love you for no reason until I find out the millions of reasons there are to love you when hopefully I meet you in person. But I love you guys. Have the best week. If any part of this resonated, birthday present to Jen, would you simply screenshot it and share it in your story, share it on your Facebook or Instagram, tag me so I can shout you out. I would love to know what resonates. I would love to know what you are getting rid of or adding on, or what hit you to the core. Please share that. All right. I love you guys. Bye, y'all.